Perron los bom oor Guptas. Perron is a threat, says the NPA. Step up or step down. Gupta's shady billions. You see, the front page news is terrifying. And not a single mention of Donald Trump. My son de Kok has just come back from America and look what he brought me. He brought me Hillary for president. Ach, ek sê dankie, de Kok. And then he said, Mama, you should talk. I said, no, it's got nothing to do with me. He said, of course, every woman in America has got a story to tell, and you have got to tell your story. Ek sê, my lieve aarde de Kok, there are more important things to talk about. Although I must admit, I have nightmares. To this day. It happened in 1982, 83. It could have been 84. I was in New York to help the South African mission at the United Nations prepare the perfect South African meal. Cook sisters, melktert, bobotie, braai, you know, anything to fight those terrible sanctions. And then, of course, I made special cook sisters for Mrs. Jacqueline Onassis, who enjoyed them the week before. And I was going to go up to her apartment to drop them. They were in a little box, a little cardboard box. Somebody had also told me about a lovely restaurant in Fifth Avenue where I had some spaghetti bolognese. Oh, God, it was lekker. I nearly asked for the recipe, Anyway, as I left the restaurant, I suddenly saw this building, this new building, and somebody said to me, this new tower has got the most wonderful view of New York. And I was a bit early, so I thought, let me go up to the top of this building and look at the view. And so I went into the lift in the foyer, and just as the doors closed, a man got into the lift, and he stood next to me, and he said, hello. Of course, the New Yorkers are very friendly. I said, yeah, hello. He said, are you having a nice day? I said, yes, thank you. He said, and did you have a nice lunch? And I said, yeah. And he said, spaghetti bolognese? I said, how do you know? He said, you've got some bolognese in your blouse. Ek sê, nou, liewe aarde, and before I could even look down, I heard him go, pff, pff. He spat on his fingers, and suddenly he came to me, and with those fingers he started rubbing this mark of bolognese on my blouse. Magdag, I said, don't do that. He said, no, wait. And he leant forward, and with his tongue, he started licking all of it. Ek dacht, wat gebeur met my? And I pushed him away. But he put his hands everywhere. His hands were everywhere. He touched me there. Look, I'm busy. I remember being chased around the car by Dominique Brandt all those years ago on a Sunday. But I mean, that's what we expected in South Africa in those days. This man touched me. He even squeezed my cook sister. He grabbed my cook sister. Ek het dit weggeruk van hom. And then I just thought, please, this must end. And eventually we got to the top, and the lift stopped. I thought, dankie vader. My hare was deur mekaar. His hand was up my... And suddenly, the doors opened, and he turned to me. He patted me on my... Jy weet hier agter? Geknyp. And he said, have a nice day. And he left. And he had squashed Mrs. Onassis' cook sister. Look, I'm not saying it was him. I'm not insinuating that I was sexually assaulted by a person who wants to become the next president of the United States of America. But is it possible that two people could look so alike with that horrible orange hair and those little hands, those little fingers that touched me all over my body? Oh, soos 'n jagsmeerkat. Kat ek gril my dood. Oh, well, I'm glad I got that out of my system. Now let's get back to business. The new public protector. Oh, it's from the frying pan into the fire pool.
Evita, and you know what we mean. Evita, always on the scene. Evita Bezuidenhout, Evita should be queen.